The Galactic Council had seen everything. War declarations delivered in 17-part harmonics. Peace treaties signed in bioluminescent ink. Trade deals negotiated through interpretive dance. But never in a 1,000-year history, had an entire diplomatic station spiraled into chaos. Because a human warmed a cup of milk. Her name was NORA VALE. Earth's youngest appointed ambassador. Brilliant, stubborn, and, according to half the galaxy, dangerously unpredictable. And on that frozen diplomatic outpost, orbiting a dwarf star that never truly warmed the hull, NORA was about to commit the greatest act of human insanity the Council had ever recorded. She was about to make hot chocolate. The Velcari were new to the Council. Tall, lupine, built for ice and war. A proud people, warriors by tradition, diplomats by necessity. Their leader, High Commander Rashnar, was the kind of being who could silence a room simply by entering it. 9 feet of muscle and discipline. Armor that looked like it had never known defeat. Eyes like molten steel. But he had brought his cub to the station as part of cultural exchange. TOVIK. 7 seasons old, about 10 in human terms. All silver fur, oversized paws, and curiosity so restless it exhausted his caretakers. The Velcari had tried everything to keep him from causing a diplomatic incident. Holographic games. Educational simulations. 3 dedicated handlers rotating in shifts. Nothing worked. Because none of it fixed the problem. TOVIK wasn't entertained. He was lonely. NORA first noticed him during a session break. Not running. Not snarling. Not wrecking anything. Just sitting alone in the observation deck corner. Ears flattened, tail wrapped around his legs like a blanket. That look. NORA recognized it. She'd worn it herself as a kid, dragged to endless adult events by diplomat parents. Hours of grown-ups talking like they were allergic to joy. She crouched down to his level and kept her hands visible. "Rough day?" she asked. TOVIK's translator chip chirped softly, then managed the words. "The talks are boring. They are discussing tariff classifications. For 6 hours." He emphasized it like a crime. 6 hours, NORA repeated, grimacing. "Yeah, that checks out." TOVIK's tail thumped once against the floor in frustration. NORA glanced around, then leaned closer like she was sharing contraband. "You know what I used to do when I was stuck in meetings?" TOVIK's ears twitched. "I'd sneak away," she whispered, "and make hot chocolate." The cub blinked. "Hot chocolate. It's a human drink," NORA said. "Sweet. Warm. Makes everything feel less awful." She tilted her head. "Want to try some?" TOVIK hesitated, just long enough for all his training to lose to curiosity. "Yes." NORA led him to her quarters. It was small and plain by council standards. No scent mist, no mood fog, no ceremonial decor. Just a desk, a bed, a port window, and a compact personal galley. The kind diplomats were allowed if they promised not to set the station on fire. NORA reached into her storage drawer and pulled out 4 things she should not have had. Cocoa powder, sugar, a sealed milk pack, and a bag of marshmallows, puffy white clouds she'd smuggled from Earth on her last return trip. TOVIK stared as if she had produced illegal weaponry. NORA poured milk into a small heating pot. The galley AI beeped a warning. Recommended nutrient temperature, 37 degrees Celsius. NORA ignored it. "Override," she said, setting it higher. The milk warmed. Steam curled upward. Then she whisked in cocoa and sugar. The scent changed instantly, rich, sweet, earthy. TOVIK's nose twitched hard, like his instincts were trying to name something his language didn't have. NORA poured the hot chocolate into 2 mugs. Then, carefully, she dropped marshmallows onto the surface. They bobbed and softened like tiny floating moons. TOVIK leaned forward. "What are those?" "Marshmallows," NORA said. "They melt and make it even better." She slid a mug toward him. Careful. Blow on it first. TOVIK copied her exactly, blowing across the surface with the seriousness of a trainee warrior. Then he took a tentative sip. His eyes went wide. His ears shot straight up. And his tail. His tail began wagging so hard it knocked a datapad off Nora's desk with a clatter. TOVIK didn't even notice. This is... He whispered. He took another sip, getting marshmallow foam on his snout. This is amazing. Nora tried not to laugh. She failed. It's sweet, TOVIK said, voice rising with wonder, and warm, like a den during storm season. He stared into the mug like it was sacred. Humans made this, just to drink. Well, yeah, Nora said, shrugging. We make a lot of comfort on purpose. TOVIK looked up at her, something shifting behind his eyes. Not respect yet, but the beginning of trust. The next day, TOVIK came back. Then the next. Then the next. Hot chocolate hour became their secret ritual. Every afternoon break, Nora would hear paws padding down her corridor, and TOVIK would burst in like the station was finally worth living on. Nora taught him the important parts. How to blow so you don't scorch your tongue. How to wait for the marshmallows to soften just right. How to take the first sip slowly, because the first sip is the one that tells your body it survived today. They talked while treaties crawled forward at the speed of paperwork. TOVIK told her about Velcari hunting traditions, about winter rites, about the songs they sang when ice storms trapped families in warmth dens. Nora told him about Earth, about thunderstorms and summer rain, about camping under real skies, about cocoa by a fireplace when the world outside was cold, and somewhere between tariff classifications and diplomatic protocol. A cub stopped being a liability and started being a child again. Then, one afternoon, the door opened, and the temperature in the room dropped. High Commander Rashnar stood in the doorway, armor gleaming, posture perfect. The fearsome Velcari leader who had conquered 3 systems, and looked like he could conquer 3 more before dinner. Nora stood so fast she nearly spilled her mug. "Commander," she began, "I apologize. I should have asked permission before dash." Rashnar raised a massive paw, stopping her. His gaze wasn't on Nora. It was on TOVIK. The cub was giggling, covered in marshmallow residue and a chocolate mustache, listening as Nora described the time she triggered a station-wide alarm trying to make toast. Rashnar stared at his son for a long moment. Then he spoke, voice rough. "My son has not laughed like that since we left our home world." Nora's throat tightened. Rashnar took one slow step into the room. "What is that you are drinking?" Nora swallowed. Then, because humans were apparently incapable of choosing the easy path, she made hot chocolate for the High Commander of the Velcari fleet. She watched him take the first sip, bracing for disaster. Rashnar was silent. So silent Nora could hear the station hum. Then his ears folded back. Velcari body language Nora had learned meant please surprise. "This drink," he said slowly, "reminds me of warmth dens during the ice storms." He stared into the mug like he was seeing a memory. Where cubs gather. Where stories are told. Where the old songs are sung. His eyes lifted to Nora. "You have given my son a piece of home, inside a cold metal station." He paused. "That is a gift beyond measure." That should have been the end. A private moment. A father grateful. A human relieved. But the galaxy doesn't let good secrets stay secret. Word spread. A Velcari diplomat asked for a cup. Then another. Then the Andromedian delegates heard rumors of a warm sweetness that made warriors relax. They requested a formal tasting. The Crystalline Collective submitted an official petition, in triplicate, for the human comfort beverage with floating white nutrient spheres. Within a month, Nora's quarters became an unofficial gathering space. Hot chocolate hour stopped being just for a lonely cub. It became a diplomatic miracle. Velcari warriors relaxed their battle postures. Crystalline beings hummed in contentment as the heat warmed their lattice structures. Even bitter rivals found themselves agreeing on one shocking truth. Extra marshmallows were non-negotiable. And something stranger happened. Conversations that had deadlocked for weeks suddenly softened. Not because anyone surrendered. Not because anyone lost. But because it's hard to stay furious when you're holding warmth in both hands. Compromises formed between sips. Apologies slipped out between laughs. People, species, began to remember they were more than their factions. Treaties got signed. Trade routes opened. Cultural exchanges were formalized. And when the Council later analyzed why these negotiations succeeded, they found the unthinkable variable. Not strategy. Not pressure. Not protocol. A human drink. Made from milk, sugar, cocoa, and stubborn tenderness. Years later, TOVIK grew into a diplomat himself. He ensured every negotiation site had the ingredients. Not as a gimmick. As a tradition. Because he never forgot his first cup. The first time the galaxy stopped being cold. NORA kept a photo in her quarters. Her and a young Velcari cub. Both wearing chocolate mustaches and marshmallow sticky grins. Holding their mugs up like a toast. Beneath it, in TOVIK's careful handwriting, were the words, "Thank you for teaching me that the best diplomacy tastes like home." And really, wasn't that the most human thing of all? Taking simple ingredients and turning them into a bridge strong enough to hold an entire galaxy.